The UN invited me to play in Bosnia after the Yugoslavian war.
Were you putting on a show for soldiers?
Yeah, my friend was in the army. The reason why he wanted me to go there was to build the youth culture. Yeah, this is cool, man. Let's do it. I get there. You cannot leave the vehicle. There's mines.
There's mines?
There was minefields everywhere.
I'm trying to bring the kids together, not step on a mine.
They have husher people.
They have what?
People that hush people from talking loudly.
When they're leaving the club.
When they're leaving the club.
What? That's the craziest thing I've ever heard.
You imagine that in London, they'd be like, fuck off. I've missed so many birthdays, so many weddings, so many events because I was so obsessed with playing music to people. It just consumed me.
All right. TSL fam, welcome back to another episode here at the TSL studio in Miami. Today we got a very special guest, 20 plus years in the house music scene, bringing the vibes to the people. We just played a little golf round today here in Miami. How you doing, Nick?
I'm good. Recovering from the golf game, my friend. I mean, it's fun, isn't it? Like, you know, Friday afternoon playing golf with your mates, but sometimes it doesn't go to plan.
Yeah. I feel like golf teaches you similar lessons that you just learn in life.
Yeah, patience. That's all I can say today, mate.
When I was driving on the highway on the way to the course, running a little bit late, and you tell me that coffee and tramadol in the system ready to go.
I know.
I almost swerved out of the lane from how much you started laughing.
My wife likes to get the Christmas decorations up super early, and she asked me to pick something up off the ground, I think a bauble or something, and I went down on Tuesday, and it just like, I tweaked my back. So today was, coffee and tramadol round. Yeah.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
You do any yoga or any stretching?
No, I don't actually. I like the gym and stuff like that, but I don't really get stretched. I stretched a little bit before I play golf, but no, I should really though. I think at my age, I think I should get into a bit of the Pilates and a bit of the yoga and. You know,
I just started doing it. That's why I asked, and I feel like.
Oh, okay. So you're a guru now, yeah?
I am. I'm a yogi. I'll give you a lesson if you want. Yeah.
But no, it's something that everyone tells me that's better be really good, especially with the traveling that we're doing. You know, you as well. Like, you know, it's something you should be getting your head around. But no, I haven't attempted. I did attempt it once with my brother when we took a weekend to a wellness retreat, and I couldn't even get my balance right. I was just falling over left, right, and center. I was like, fuck this. It's not for me. But maybe now I'll give it another go.
That's funny. How does it feel to be back in Miami?
Oh man, I love this place. I kind of feel like my second home.
Really?
You know, yeah, because I've been coming here, you know, since day dot of my career. Got so many amazing friends here, and you know, obviously Space tonight, and we've got to cut that out. No, it's not tonight, but yeah. Space. Yeah, you know, I've got so many good friends here and so many good memories here that, especially when you have a day like today, Friday afternoon, like I was saying to you, playing golf on a Friday afternoon, it doesn't get better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then have a show tonight.
Have a show. Don't have to fly till late tomorrow till DC. So yeah, I get the full Miami experience.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wanted to tell you earlier because when I first heard some of your music, it was around like 2019.
Yeah.
You know, I started getting into dance music 2017. But Moving On was one of the first songs that I heard from you.
Right.
And then the edit you did of This Place, I think.
Oh, the Ash Subban record.
Yes.
Yeah.
So those are some of the. It's crazy how you have I have such good memory with when I hear certain tracks for the first time, and I can pinpoint a memory from that.
Yeah.
But then the funniest thing was 2019. I told you I was studying in London.
Yeah.
I come back to Boston, 2020 January. I'm not 21 yet, and you have a show at this club called The Grand, February 6, 2020. You probably don't remember.
I think I do. I
do
remember it, yeah. Because I remember being hungover from the night before, falling asleep in the car and waking up to the Wynn Hotel. Because they have a Wynn Hotel in Chicago. And I was like, why the fuck Boston, sorry.
Yeah.
Why are we in Chicago? Sorry, I thought I was in Vegas. You know, I was like, this is
at
just...
the Encore.
Encore, that's it, yeah. And I was like, this is just so strange. And then when I got to... the Grand, it was quite a VIP kind of club, wasn't it? It was different to Bijou.
Yeah. All right, fellas, before we get back into the podcast, we got to give a quick shout out to you already know Prize Picks, baby, the only sponsor of the TSL Time podcast and the #1 fantasy sports app on the App Store. Instead of picking teams, you're picking players. Each player has a set projected stat line, and you can pick more or less on each player. The more players you add to your lineup, the higher the multiplier goes up. This week, Moose and I were taking Derrick Henry over rushing yards, Mr. Jetta under on the receiving yards because the quarterback is throwing shit bombs and interceptions like never before, and Mr. Sutton over receiving yards as well. You can see it right here. Add me on Snapchat if you want to look at all our picks. We went off earlier this week at the Heat game, smashed, and then took a big L yesterday. Brunson, what's going on? Okay, 15 points, short. It was the Celtics, though, so we'll give it to them. But code DADDY, download Prize Picks right now, #1 fantasy sports app on the App Store. You'll get $50 in free play after your first $5 deposit, available in California and Florida. Let's go, baby. Let's get back into this podcast with Nick Fanciulli. Sheep. That weekend, this was like right before we go full pandemic. I'm dating this Colombian girl. She also loves dance music. So when I really start to love the music, and I saw that you were coming into town, and I was like, fuck. The Grand is a really VIP club. I'm not 21 yet. I have a fake ID. I'm going to go and watch Nick just rip it. Me and my girlfriend at the time, pregame so hard. We're drunk, smoking joints. Get into the Uber, listening to some of your music, get so excited, freezing cold, show up. They let my girlfriend in, and they're like, fuck off. Fake ID to me.
No way.
Man, she goes, I'm not going without you. We get in the Uber, and we were so let down. And I was just like, because I was thinking about it today. I was like, I remember precisely. That would have been the first show I would have seen of yours. And I didn't get in.
No,
and then we got sent home for a year and a half of lockdown.
That's right.
That was pandemic.
Yeah, you're right. It was near the end, but I just remember that show. I remember just how hungover I was and going to Juan, my tour manager. I was like, "Why are we in Vegas?" You know, it was like, he's like, we're in Boston. So I was like, yeah. But no, it was actually a good show. You missed out.
Yeah.
Did she go in without you?
No.
All right. I was gonna say.
No, we were pretty fucked up, and she was like, I'm not going alone though.
Yeah.
But it was really funny. I remember we got back to my apartment. We were just like so down. We were like, oh, fuck it. Till next time.
Yeah. You had to wait, though, a year and a half.
Yeah, I had to wait a year and a half.
Yeah.
But in the 20 years that you've been touring now, which is pretty much since I was born.
Fuck.
When did you start touring? Sorry, I don't make you feel old.
Yeah. Well, I started DJing at 16. And then I obviously... A lot of the UK DJs were playing just the UK, but I got picked up by Deep Dish, who were a huge double act back in the day, Ali and Sharam. So they brought me over to the US agency. So I think I started with them when I was 21, touring the States a lot.
2000, early 2000?
Yeah, early 2000, something like that. So I actually really missed out on doing the UK scene. I was, majority of the time I was in the US, while all my other friends, DJs that were growing up, they were playing in the UK and stuff. So I never really had that kind of. They used to, in the UK, they used to do like 3 shows a night. They would do London, Birmingham, and Manchester. There was the whole road trip that they would do. They'd get to do 3 shows a night. So I kind of missed out on that side of things.
That's nuts.
Yeah, I know, man.
How far apart is London?
Yeah, like an hour and a half from each. So they're kind of hour and a half, then another hour and a half. So you'd probably play, 10 till 12, 2 till 4, and then maybe 6 to 8. I don't know, something like that. So they would, they'd make some cash.
How many times in the 20 years you've been touring now have you woken up and forgotten what city you're in?
I mean, pretty much every week, man. every week. Like,
still to this day?
Yeah, because you're so sleep deprived, man. Like you just realize how intense it is sleep deprived. And I always give my tour manager my key. I remember this one time in Croatia, and I think we were playing Sonos Festival, and I was working with Joe Daly, and I gave him the key. We check in. We finished the show at 6 a.m. And apparently he walked into my room, opened the curtains, pulled the sheets off. And this happened 3 times. I got up, shut my curtains, pulled the bed sheet back over myself and went back to sleep. And he did it 3 times in a row. And I was like, what are you doing? He's like, we're meant to leave now, mate. I was like, change the flight, man. Change the flight. It was just insane, because you get in an hour and a half sleep, sometimes a night. And you just don't know where you are. You think, fuck, have I missed the flight? Have I got the flight? So yeah. And the worst thing is when you come back to the UK, they're like, where have you come from? And the amount of times I'm like, I don't know. Your brain doesn't connect. You just don't know where you are. So yeah, it happens a lot.
Yeah, I got a little taste of it when I told you when I was touring with Seth, where it was like I got to the airport and I was like, where the fuck am I going?
Yeah.
Just like, it goes to show, like, would you say sleep is the biggest challenge?
You know what? I think Stanford put out this report that originally you're meant to have 7 hours sleep a night, and it's not. It's 8 hours sleep a night. And also you can't make sleep up. So if you have like 3 hours one night, you can't go and do 16 hours the next night.
Okay.
You know, you can't make up sleep. And it's actually like one of the worst things for you. And it's something that I'm never going to be able to escape, you know, as DJs, you know, because I try and get rest before the show and I try and go straight to bed. But then also you've got this crazy high, regardless if you're drinking or not drinking, of playing, finishing your set, going back to your hotel room, just sitting there and decompressing. But it takes me like a good 2 hours to get to sleep.
Yeah.
You know, your ears are like, you know, the
energy.
Yeah, the energy, and you're there and you're playing and you're loving it. And the next minute you're sat in a hotel room on your own.
Yeah.
It's like the biggest high, and then like the come down comes really quick.
Yeah, that's the thing with dance music. It's so, the energy is so different.
Yeah. Yeah. Especially like doing Space. You start at 5, you're finished at 9 a.m. You know, people are going to work. You know, you're like, yeah. And you go to bed and then you wake up at 1 and then you got to get another flight. I'm not moaning about it. I'm just saying that the sleep deprivation is the worst part of it.
It's part of the game.
Yeah.
I have a few just like, I wouldn't say it's traumatic experiences, but there's been many times where I'm just like leaving Space. I walk out, your eyes start to like acclimate to the brightness of the sun. And then I just see 3 fucking people on a jog, just sweating, getting in their late morning workout. And I just think to myself, I'm just like,
yeah. But to be fair, you've probably done enough steps.
Oh, we've done a lot of steps.
Yeah. So you're looking at that, you're looking at your Fitbit or your Whoop band or whatever you've got on.
Yeah, the health app. It's like, I did all right. You know?
Yeah. I drank a couple of bottles of coconut water. I'm good. So I guess in that point of view, but yeah, the whole balance of life is so different. You know, there's not many jobs you get paid to go to work and the promoter's trying to get you drunk. Now imagine working in an office and they, oh, hey Nick, how you doing? Oh, there's a shot of tequila on the table for you. I need your report in the next day. You're like, what? Like, you know, it's true.
It's a great job.
It is a great job. Obviously, when you got no responsibilities and you're in your 20s and your 30s, it's fantastic. But obviously, after a while, you know, you've got to slow it down.
Are you still partying a bit?
I don't think as much as I used to. You know, I'm not preaching, but like I think now I've got more responsibilities, like having 3 kids, you know, a family at home. I like to get in and out. I like to play the show, really enjoy the show, you know, connect with the people, and then, you know, disappear out the, was it an Irish exit? Is that what you call it? Yeah. Yeah.
They say the Irish exit is one of the best skills one can have.
Apparently it like saves so much time in your life as well. I read it's like, apparently you live longer.
You probably do.
Yeah.
Think about how much time, I mean, especially as a DJ, you've spent in the past not Irish exiting and saying goodbye to 10, 20 people every night.
Yeah. My wife...
And you get caught up in a conversation.
My wife has this thing where she's like, nothing fun happens after 3 a.m. She's kind of right. Like, you know, it's like... Yeah, and it's kind of in my head, it's kind of instilled, like, you know, you go back to the after party and, you know, you're chatting shit for like, 2 or 3 hours, you're putting the world to rights, and then, you're just, you feel regret the next day.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
That's a great point.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm there yet, where I'm just like,
yeah.
A lot of good things do happen sometimes after 3.
Yeah, but we were talking that I guess if you get lucky, you know, like if you're like for a single man like you, but it's more the case of, like we were saying earlier, it's, you know, what you're doing, what I'm doing, you know, it's you still have to be productive the next day, and you still have to go to the next show, and you know, you've got people paying good money to come and see you play, and they want the best out of you. So now I've kind of understood the responsibility that's what I'm there to do. You know, the days of partying and stuff like that, you know, it's fun and I had a great time, but yeah, now it's you know, I just love going to work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It takes a while to kind of get that, I don't know what analogy is the right one to use, but kind of like that animal out of you in a way.
Yeah.
Where it's just like, you know, I'm still adjusting a lot to like this lifestyle that I'm living now, where it's just like, you know, so many opportunities that I never imagined I would have before, from, you know, flying for free across the world to Dubai and Abu Dhabi, and then being at a UFC fight, and, you know, going to Blondish's party for fun, and, you know, meeting her there after doing a podcast with her. And it's just like, it's hard. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, but it's
like I feel like, you know, it's,
and you've got to be on as well. You've got to be on point.
You got to be on.
You've got to be on it. You know, especially when you're doing all this traveling and you're representing your brand. You're representing you. Do you know what I mean? So you've got to be like, you know, consistent.
Yeah.
And that is like what we speak about. It's like, you know, if you want the long game and the long results, you know, not the sprint but the marathon, you've got to reel it in sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Talking about that like marathon mindset, I always find it's so inspiring to me. Like when I see someone who's been doing, you know, pushing their passion and turning into a career for 20 plus years.
Yeah.
You know, and you've been doing that. And would you say you would have thought you'd be here now?
No.
If somebody asked you when you started?
Do you know why? Because I remember like breaking through, like we were saying, breaking through is the easy part, and you know, getting recognition for one record or, you know, one essential mix or one mixtape that you've done and stuff like that. But then the consistency is obviously you've got to keep it up. And I remember 2007, I had a great tour with a DJ called James Ibiza. We toured the world as this concept called 1+1. We literally did 26 cities in America in 35 days. You know, we were on a tour bus. It was rock and roll. It was amazing. The tour stopped and my career just went like that. 2008, I remember, because this whole minimal sound came in and I was playing just house music. And James Ibiza was one of the biggest DJs in the world at that time. So his career was going up and mine, when we stopped the 1+1 tour, I was just like, fuck, I'm not connecting. People aren't enjoying my music. And I thought, you know what? I've had a good time. I think I've got probably another year left of this and that's it. And that's what I had, you know, but I still grinded and still carried on doing it. And then it just came full circle. And that's what I'm talking about. You know, when you feel like things aren't working, and I feel that kids now as well, especially, they're chasing because there's too much information out there. They see what's in front of them. They're like, oh, I want to do that. I want to do that. I didn't have that. We had magazines and that was about it at the time. But that was the point where I felt like it was over. Really over. And
that's a scary feeling.
Yeah, it was a scary feeling, but also at the same time, it was my job, you know, it was a hobby and a passion. So I never really knew how long I had in it. You know, like I didn't know what the time span was. That was like 6 years into my career. And I was like, you know what, I've had a good run. I'm enjoying it. You know, let's see what happens. And 2009, 2010, I did a contract, I think with Renaissance or Global Underground CDs, and it just went back up again, you know, and I haven't looked back since. It's been a good run since then.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So there was a few moments where like the idea of throwing the towel and hanging it up was circling in your mind.
I don't think it was throwing the towel in.
Not throwing the towel.
I think it was more the case that go out, it was just going to fade away.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean? Like I was always trying to be part of the scene and be part of playing music, but I just, you know, that period of time, and a lot of DJs my age will remember, it was a very minimal German sound that came in, and the UK had owned the scene for such a long time. You know, a lot of UK DJs owned the scene, and it was kind of, you know, shifting over to like Cocoon and Sven Vath and people like that, and it was, it just, you know, and I wasn't going to switch my sound because I've always said to myself, I want to play what I play. You know, there's no point in just like doing it, you know, just to be a chameleon. And I'm still here talking to you.
Thanks for coming. No, I think it's so that's why I ask, you know, being in the game for so long, I feel like even myself, some of the greatest lessons I've learned have been in those moments where I feel like I've lost it, where I'm overthinking a ton, or my creative flow is just being interrupted by random things, or you blame it on maybe I'm just not getting lucky right now, or just all these different, not even excuses, but you just begin to like find reasons as to why things may not be working out, or maybe you're falling off. That's like a crazy thing in social media, right? These are all normal things that once in a while cross your mind, and you know, they really force you to reflect sometimes and ask you, it's like you said, it's like, do I need to change my content and do what I see is working for other people, or do I just stick to my shit, keep pushing, and see if it
I'm
continues
a massive
forward?
fan of sticking to what you do, because there's only one you. There's only one version of you, and there's only one version of me. And I feel like, you know, this is sounding too deep or anything like that, but it took me to 40 to not care about anything around me that was going on. Really, like, I didn't care about, like, when agents were ringing me up going, oh, the billing's not good enough. And I'm like, I don't care. People are just, you know, they want to book me. I want to play. I don't care. Like, I blocked all the noise from everything that was going on with me. And now I'm so much happier Whereas before it was like, you know, like a scrapping match with, you know, arguing and this and that. We need this, we need that. We don't. We just need a pair of turntables and just to play. You know, it's there's so much of that goes on behind the scenes in music that obviously a lot of people don't see. And that's the time that I got comfortable, and then started to enjoy it really. You know, and it was mad that I was 40 when that happened.
That's great.
Yeah, it's mad. So yeah, that's the one best advice I gave to people is just block out the noise and not look at what anyone else is doing. Get inspiration from other people. Like, I'm sure you can look at other people's content and, oh, that's a really cool idea. I could look at that and maybe switch it into my own version of that. It's the same with music, you know, oh, that record sounds good. Oh, you know, that sounds good. And just taking information from so many different places and creating it into your version. That's what you should be doing.
Absolutely. Yeah. And you mentioned you used the word chameleon, right? Of like, I think the best part about, I think when I go to a show and what makes me enjoy the show the most, and I think Chris Sussie mentioned this when I spoke to him, was when it's unpredictable. Yeah. When you don't know what's coming, you know, when it's just like, you don't see anything coming, you know? And I think, what do you think about, because you mentioned as well, like there's so much information now. Yeah. Everyone's trying to become a DJ. Yeah. You know, people make a great record and then it disappears after 5 months. You think it's harder now not to be?
It was like I was saying to you on the golf course, man. Like, I've obviously been around 25 years now, you know, playing and touring. So many people that have disappeared that I haven't seen, you know, even DJs that were super big. I'd land in Australia and they'd be the driver now, you know, where they were like headline DJs at festivals. You know, it's mad. But I guess that goes down to like a certain couple of things, work ethic, you know, other different things, you know, taste, sound changes. They don't want to adapt or anything like that. But I think now it must be hard, like, for younger kids to come through, because it's like you said, there's so much information out there that people saying, oh, I want to do that, I want to do that, I want to do that. You know, it's very hard to break through in this day and age, I think, unless you have like a big track or you're a personality. You know, it's very hard to come from like, what's the word I'm thinking of? It'll come to me, man. Fuck. Not amateur, like when you work at a company and you build your way up through the ranks. Yeah. You know, I can't think of the word, man. But they have it in soccer where you start off, you clean the boots, and then you go to, you know, you work your way up through the club and stuff like that. Like YTS, it's called in the UK. But now it's not. It's like you feel that everything needs to hit 100% all the time, but it's not going to work. Like we were speaking about it earlier. Like some things you do, people don't connect with it. Some people connect with certain things, and it's always the least things that you expect that you connect with. Yeah, that's my take on it, man. I mean, yeah, anyone that breaks through, or music is a fucking hobby, you know, it's a passion. You know, there's no way to like look at it in any other way. And if you break through, amazing. If you don't, enjoy what you're doing. Right. You know, you still can play music at home. You can still play in your local bar, your local club. And, you know, sometimes it connects and sometimes it doesn't. It just depends on where you are in the world. Right. It's like when you, like you mentioned before, like music being a hobby, is if you do end up seeing it potentially become like a career path where you can make money from it, it was kind of just like a side effect that happened naturally, right? I feel like you can't be like, oh, you're making music to make money. It's just never going to work. It's like with anything, you know, you got to do it from a place of love and passion. Exactly. You know, it's, there's no way. I mean, now I don't even make money from actually making music. It's so hard nowadays when Spotify are giving you like, what is it? 0.0 cents on the. Really? I think it is. I've never looked into it, but I know there's no, unless you're like, you know, a Taylor Swift or a Beyonce or something. Bad like Bunny. You're doing you're doing millions of streams. But yeah, you don't look at it like that. You know, you're making music, and I do think, and I will say this, the best part of your career is the start of your career, when you're grinding and you're hustling and you're like staying in friends' sofas, and you're like, you know, you're actually losing money when you're going to shows. You know, someone in New York wants to book you, but your flight costs X amount and your fee is this, and you're like, I'm going to New York to lose money. Awesome. But you're fucking smiling at the same time. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? You're like super happy. Yeah, tell me a bit about the early days. Oh man, the early days. You must have some incredible stories. The early days, bro. You grew up in London? I grew up in Kent, in Maidstone, which is a small ass town, but it had one of the most amazing house nights there called Club Class. And I used to go every week. There was like Carl Cox, Pete Tong, Sasha and Digweed. Everyone played at this club. And it was a rural village town. Do you know what I mean? It was just like about an hour and a half south of London. And I used to go and I used to hand mixtapes to the promoter, you know, cassette tapes, not CDs. And I was so excited about giving him the tape that I used to forget to put my contact details on the tape. And it was a guy called Serge. And he tracked me down about 3 months later and he was like, are you giving me these tapes? I'm like, yeah. He's like, you put no information on these tapes. I was like, fuck, sorry.
Were you 15, 16 at the time?
I was probably 16, 17, maybe something like that. And he was like, we really want to book you. And I was like, really? And he was like, yeah, we want you to come in and do the warm up. And that's how I started. You know, I would play at this club, do warm ups. And then if the main guest cancelled, I'd do the middle set. And then sometimes I'd play the last set. And that's how I learned my trade. I learned from being a resident at this nightclub, you know, doing the warm up to the middle to the closing.
And you never knew how long you were going to play?
No, you never knew. You know,
you showed up and
just showed up and played, and it'd be like, you know, I think you'd get like £50 to play, and the money was irrelevant. The money was absolutely irrelevant at that time.
How would you put a record on a cassette? You said it was
a cassette tape. So basically, it's like a CD player, but a tape, and it has like, and you record your mixes. So you have your vinyl, and then you would send the signal into the tape player, and he would play it in the car. That's what. Yeah, this is how young you are, bro.
I want to know, you know?
Yeah. And
now it's like pull up the laptop, Ableton.
Yeah,
you know,
now it's a
few
totally
samples,
different a ball game. But
upload file.
That was, and I just remember how much fun it was. I was working in the record shop at the time. Again, I was spending more money on records each week than I was getting paid. You know, my parents were fucking amazing. They supported me 100%. You know, that was the main thing. They were like, they'd never see me happier.
God bless. That's amazing.
So, and then it just trickled on. And then it kind of like Pete Tong heard what I was doing, gave me a spot at the Essential Mix on Radio 1, which was a big show. It still goes this day where they showcase new talent. And then, yeah, it spiraled on from there. But yeah, it's a long time ago.
Was there a specific spark, though, that introduced you to dance music? Or influenced the sound that you wanted to?
Yeah, I was into bands. I was into Oasis, Blur, you know, 94, 95. I was like 15 years old, just, you know, coming through school, doing my exams. And then I got into bands like Underworld, Daft Punk, and Chemical Brothers. They were the three that I was just like, wow. So it was like electronic music, but done live. And I was like, right, okay, cool. So I was in a band. I was playing the drums at the time. And then I started going to the local record store and I was just buying vinyl. And then I went to a pawnbroker's and I bought 2 turntables. And they weren't Technics. I'm saying these were like ghetto turntables. Like, you know, you touch it and it would spin, like zoom off. Like didn't even have a pitch control on it. It was just like, and this little made to fade mixer that had 2 channels and a little crossfader. And I started on that. That's how I started. And I was just like in my bedroom. I remember my mum saying to me, you were literally in your bedroom for 8 hours a day, just mixing. And at the time I probably had like 9 records or 10 records and I was mixing the same records over and over again. Because it was so expensive to buy vinyl. You know, like you'd buy like a US import and that was like £20, which is like $30. And this was 96, 95. So, you know, pocket money didn't cover it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Were you just completely disconnected from school?
Yeah.
And just in class, just thinking music?
I was just thinking music all the time. Music. And then I discovered the studio. And then went on from there, really, bro. Like it just consumed me. I've missed so many birthdays, so many weddings, so many events because I was so obsessed with like music and playing music to people. Yeah. And it's nice to remember these times because it gives you a little spark as you go on. Because like anything, you know, after 25 years, you know, you have your ups and downs, but going back and remembering that time reminds me of why I got into it. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And you said that in the early 2000s, before like 2006, 2007, the UK sound was really dominating the scene.
It was huge. Yeah, it was huge. You know,
so I'm not familiar as much with that time, but
yeah, it was a lot of big DJs coming from the UK, like Paul Oakenfold, Pete Tong, that were like, you know, real ambassadors for the sound. Seth Fontaine, Judge Jules. Not always the sound. Sasha and Digweed, Carl Cox. You know, we had a really good bunch of like, you know, people coming from the UK. And I just got to to travel the world at such a young age. A lot of credit goes to Ali and Sharon from Deep Dish. They signed me to their Bullet agency when I was 21 years old. So they gave me a huge break, you know, touring the States in the early days, because there was a massive scene in the US for progressive house from the early 2000s to about 2010. And then the whole EDM thing came into the States. And I kind of stopped playing because my sound didn't really fit the States. And then, like I said to you, like the last 5 years, since COVID, the States, the sound, they're bringing everyone in. You know, there's so many great lineups in America now.
Yeah.
You know, I just played Arc Festival in Chicago a couple of months ago, and the
Sick.
lineup was insane. Insane.
I saw some videos of that. It looked really
insane.
sick.
You know, and especially Miami, man. I think you must get bored of how good the lineups are here. It is, though. It's fucking true. It's like, it's insane, like the lineups.
Everybody always tells me, like, dude, how do you live in Miami? And I don't know sometimes, because it's just like, there's so many good events.
Yeah.
Always.
Yeah.
Just want to go to all of them.
I know. Like I saw like the Halloween event they do here, like the Art Basel event, the first week of January, you know, the Miami, it's insane.
When was your first time in Miami?
It was 2004 playing Space for the Yoshi Toshi party. And that's where I got my big break in America playing that party. It was like...
That was before the Terrace was the Terrace.
Yeah, yeah. It was basically, and we spoke about this earlier, Miami Space was about the main room. It was about Oscar G and that kind of dark tribal sound. And they had this terrace up, and it was Louis Peag that owned it at the time. And we finished playing after a 7-hour set, and I was like, I still want to keep playing. He was like, well, we got this terrace up here, and there's a couple of decks in the corner, and it wasn't where the DJ booth now. If you go up to the stage, it was on the right-hand side where the VIP is. And they had all this kind of like curtain netting down, so you couldn't even see the dance floor. And I played, and I was like, I love this. And he's like, do you want to do this every month? And I was like, yeah. So I had the monthly residency at Space, and he became a real father figure to me. You know, so I was working with him, I was working with Emmy, with Lewis, and it was such a great time in Miami. You know, it was just coming through the sound, and yeah, and I owe a lot of it to playing the Space Terrace in the early days to kind of get to the sound that I got to. And obviously now it's like we're doing Space 25 years on, and it's still got that, it's still got that magic. You know, it never used to have a roof as well. You know, there was no roof. So you literally,
open air.
It was open air, and, you know, it had shitty sound, but it didn't matter. It didn't matter at all because it was just the vibe.
It was it was a smokers area.
Smokers area. And people weren't looking at the DJ. They were just like dancing and, you know, grooving. And it kind of had this kind of, I don't know, just this rare thing where it was just about like the environment more than the DJ put on a pedestal.
It's so crazy to think about, because I've just seen videos of like old days of Space and old days of, you know, clubs in Ibiza. And every time I watch those videos, I'm just like, man, what I would do just to like maybe feel it for 30 minutes back in the day when it just seems so different.
Do you know what it was like?
What do you think it was the most?
Clubbing and going to parties was for a special type of people that wanted to escape reality.
Right.
That's what it was for. Now it's a commercial thing. But before, it was a certain group of people with your friends that you want to disappear with the same kind of people that you were. Do you know what I mean? There was no VIP tables. There was none of this kind of, it was just people that just loved the music and loved the experience. And just, you know, I'm not taking anything away from now, because people obviously still love music, but it was a certain type of person that would go and just escape. Like Space Terrace in the morning, I remember the DJ booth was behind the bar. So like the barman would be serving and the decks were next to the barman. It was never about the DJ. It was just about the environment. And that's what I think's changed a lot. You know, the DJ's front center of the room, whereas before, even the Space main room, the DJ booth originally was never on the stage. It was in the far right-hand corner.
So you couldn't even see the DJ.
It was just over there.
Yeah.
You know, the dance floor was facing that way, but the booth was over there, and everyone, you'd be facing each other dancing, and it would be like, it wouldn't be just like facing one way. You know, it was a mad experience.
Is there a certain club you think nowadays that still gets really close to that type of vibe?
The last one that I kind of experienced that kind of feeling was Womb in Tokyo. And it was such a great experience. I was one of the only people to do 3 New Year's Eves there. I think it was 2007, 2008, and then I went back in 2017. But that period of time, I think I did New Year's Eve, I think I played 17 hours. but I was playing everything from disco to house to drum and bass to techno. It was insane. And I felt that because people didn't care. They just wanted the vibe. And that was the last kind of, for me personally, I mean, there's a lot of great clubs out there, but that was the kind of one where you could just effortlessly just flow through different genres and people didn't care.
In Japan.
Yeah, man. What a great place that is, man.
I've never been.
What a great place.
Drinking whiskey and sake?
Yeah. Whiskey, sake, and sushi, man. What more do you want? You know, like
some of the best things ever.
Yeah, and great people as well.
Yeah.
Very good people. Very like humble and nice, and just, you know, they love the music, very respectful. They even have outside, check this out, outside the club, they have husher people because the club was in the center of a residential area.
They have what?
Husher people, like people that hush people from talking loudly. With signs, say be quiet. And they'd walk out and everyone would be dead silent.
When they're leaving the club.
When they're leaving the club.
There's hushing people.
Yeah.
What?
And it's fucking insane. You know,
that's the craziest thing I've ever heard.
And then you walk out and then it's just silence. And people just walking home, just respectful. Because you've got people living in the apartments around it and stuff like that.
So people are walking out of this club just off it. And then there's people like, shh, don't wake up the rest of the people.
Can you imagine that in London? They'd be like, fuck off.
Oh, that's so sick.
Yeah, man. So, but yeah, it's a place that it's a bucket list place for you, man.
No, I definitely want to go there. I have a friend who's there right now, and he's just sending me videos, and he's like, "This is."
It's Blade Runner.
I wish I could stay here longer. He said because
it's Blade
like,
Runner. You land and you're like, it's a normal city. The minute it goes dark, it's just. And I'll tell you this one thing: all you see is red lights. Every building has a red light on the top of it.
Really?
It's nuts. I don't know why. It doesn't matter if it's 2 stories or 20 stories, and that if you're high up in a building, you just see the whole sea of red lights. It's crazy. And he's like, yeah, the closest thing I can explain to is Blade Runner.
I was thinking red light district, but
yeah, maybe. Depends where your mind's going, bro.
Oh, that's so funny.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
You know, talking about the UK scene, because it's interesting how you were mentioning before how like this different minimal sound came in that kind of like threw you off in the 2007. What do you think about right now? What's coming out of the UK?
I think these kids are amazing.
Yeah,
they're doing so well, man, aren't they? Like I love new talent coming through. I've never been a jealous person in my life about, you know, these young kids are taking over. I'm like, fucking, we need these kids to take over. These kids are like bringing a new lease of energy. You know, when you see like the Joshes and the Maxes and all these like Prospers and things like that. I mean, I love it. I think they're really, you know, they're putting their flag in the sand and smashing it.
It's crazy.
It's great. You know, it's so good, man. Like, and not just them, but even like, you know, when you see like the Solid Groove guys, and like, especially like people like Dennis Cruz that has been around even on my label. He signed to my label like 10, 12 years ago, and now having the peak of his career. You know, this is what's great about dance music, is you can just casually flow through, and then when your time's right, you go. You know, you have your peak. Yeah. And it's so good. You know, you can reinvent yourself. You know, like I said, I've been around for like 25 years, and I just reinvent the wheel. You just, you know, you can go to the studio and go, right, I'm going to keep to my sound, but I'm going to tweak it a bit. And you have a whole new lease of life. But, you know, the young kids now, man, I think they're obviously a lot more clued up as well, because there's a lot more information out there for them to look at. Yeah. And everyone's getting better in the studio. The technology's getting better. You know, they can write on the road, where we used to have a hard studio. So you go on the road and you have to go back to your studio to go and make music. Now they're just like, you know.
Hits are being made on the plane. Yeah. And in the fucking train.
It's great though. No, it's the UK scene, I think it's probably one of the healthiest it's been in a long time.
Really?
Yeah, I do. I think we've got some great talent coming out there. I think in general, the young generation coming through is very good.
Yeah, no, it's crazy.
Yeah.
It's really interesting to see, like, even from like a social media perspective, just like, it's a lot, you know. It's now more than just the music, which is crazy too, you know.
I think it's a double-edged sword, the social media stuff, because you kind of want people to judge your music rather than character. You know, it's a totally different business model to what you're doing, to what we're doing. You know, you're visually active, you know, you stuff like that. But I just want to go to a club and play music, make people dance and go home. Right. But then you have this whole other layer that you have to kind of go to show people where you are, because before it was just magazines, and that was it, mixtapes, CDs and stuff like that. That's all we had. That's all we had to promote ourselves. But now there's like, how many platforms are there? Like Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, there's all these different ways to, and you know, there's DJs that could have that one viral clip that will change their whole life. Yeah.
It's insane.
It's crazy.
How long did it take for a record to really gain traction? You know, in the early days, was there a certain
man.
record that you were like,
like
maybe like 4 or 5 months after you released it early days, you were like, oh shit, now people were talking about it.
It was different because back then you used to make a record in the studio. You used to get the DAT tape, which was the tape that you recorded in the studio, go to a pressing plant, and they would press you an acetate on metal. And you could play that probably 30 or 40 times before it crackles. Yeah. So you would that's how you tested your records out. So to get from the process of making a record and putting it out would be 6 months. So you'd have all this like hype about the record, then it would go to a white label, then you'd mail it out to a bunch of your DJ friends, and then you would finally release the record. Now you can finish a record today and you can have it on Beatport by Monday. So it's super quick, you know, it's super quick. And I do think that, you know, I do think that that's the one thing that records need to be worked a lot harder, you know, where, you know, like played out a lot longer, passed out, promoed, and then delivered. You know, there's a lot of things that come out super quick. And there's also a lot of records coming out now. So you kind of, you know, I think one day on Beatport, there was 4,000 new releases in one day.
Which is insane.
So I might not have got the number totally correct, but I know it was in the thousands. And you're like, how are you going to cut through all this information? So,
yeah, I do think, talking about the double-edged sword, it's now when certain records are released and they're overplayed on social media, sometimes the promotion just gets too out of hand, I think. Where then the song comes out and I'm just like, I can't even fucking listen to this anymore. Because you hear it. You hear like the 45-second bit of it, and so many people are posting videos with it.
Yeah.
And then, you know, you go to a few shows, and then, you know, amongst you guys, you share the track to each other, and you hear it there as well. But then when it comes out, I listen to it myself. Of course, I'm like, oh, finally, I get the full track now. It's great. It's clean. It's on Spotify.
Yeah.
Then a week later, I'm just like, oh,
you're done with it.
But I wouldn't say that's with every situation. When there's just, you know, when there's a proper banger, I'm just.
But there's also a case for that there's records that have done really badly when they've been released, and then someone picks it up on social media and uses that clip, and the record just goes off.
Yeah.
You know, they can, like, there was a Terrence Parker record that everyone was using on their social media that was written in like 93 that just went turbo because some big Instagrammer used it as a clip for her advert or something, and then the record came back out again. So again, you know, it's a balance, isn't it? You know, there's good things and bad things with it.
I definitely think, though, to what I was mentioning before, is and I've spoken to Moose about it too. It's not, and now I don't even. There's so many songs that this past summer that I've heard get overly pushed on social media.
Yeah.
Then by the time they release, I just feel like it doesn't give you that hit anymore.
That's fair enough. Yeah, it's.
So it's got to be. I mean, I don't know. There's. I don't know how to go about it.
I mean, yeah. I mean, it's a good platform to get to get your point across and to get your branding across, I guess.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Talking about saved records.
Yeah.
Is this year 20?
Yeah. 20th anniversary, man. Fuck. And the reason why we started it, the reason why we started it.
I'm gonna quit mentioning time.
Yeah.
It's just always great to
It's only because I've got Peter Pan syndrome, and it's like, and when I keep thinking about like how long I've been doing this and how I'm still here, thankfully, you know, touch wood, like a few more years left. But it's interesting how the label started. The label started because no one wanted to sign my records. Like, so again, I was defeated, but I was like, I've got to think of a way around how I get music out to people.
Right.
So I was recording under a name called Skylark. Again, at the start, I was scared to put records out under my own name because I was too paranoid. So I did Skylark and the Buick Project were my two pseudonyms. So we started Save Records with Andy Chatterley, who was my partner at the time in the studio in 2005. And yeah, we just basically, it was an outlet to put out our own music. And then after 2 years, we became quite a good label, and people were like sending us demos. So we had Paul Wolford, we had Ash Subban, we had Andrea Leva. Everyone was sending us demos, and we were like, fuck it, let's just start putting other people's records out. And that's where we got to. You know, we just, you know, we became like a...
How'd you come up with Skylark?
I don't know. I really don't know, actually.
It's a good name.
It was a car, I think, wasn't it? A car? Jesus. Yeah, it was a car.
Did many other DJs and producers use like aliases?
I guess so. I mean, Diplo? That's not his real name, is it? It's Wes, isn't it?
Yeah,
so,
Wes.
Yeah. I don't think anymore. I think there used to be Calvin Harris. His name's Adam Wiles. So, but yeah, I did it for that reason, and that's how we started. And I remember it was funny. I got a Grammy nomination. Yeah, it's fucking crazy.
That's
in
sick.
2007 for remixing T. Schwartz, which was the most underground artist at the time, and Tracy Thorn from Everything But the Girl. And I did it as Buick Project. And in my head, I'm like, why didn't I just do this as Nick Fanciulli? Because when they were reading out the nominees and they were like the Buick Project, and I was like, oh man, we didn't win, but it was a fucking great experience, man. It was one of the best experiences of my life. And I remember...
Were you at the Grammys?
Yeah, I remember I was staying in the Roosevelt Hotel.
It was in LA.
Yeah, in LA. And John Legend got in the lift with me. And we're both in our like kind of suits and tuxedos, and we'd gone down to breakfast. And I picked up a copy of the I think it's New York Times. Is that the newspaper, New York Times or Post or something like that?
Yeah, New York Times.
Yeah. And in the back page, it had the underdogs that should win. And we were in that section. Yeah.
Damn.
And so was John Legend as
well.
Save
a copy?
So was John Legend. I think it's somewhere at home, but then we got there and the category was Madonna. It was someone else. I was like, there's no chance we're going to win this. And we didn't. But it was just such a great experience, sitting there and having like Stevie Wonder there and like Lionel Richie over there. And like, you're just like some kid that's just done an electronic record and you're getting recognition for it.
That's nuts.
Yeah, it was nuts actually, man. Thinking about it. And it's always like,
how does a record even get to, like, how do you qualify?
I don't know. I think it's like a boys club or something. They just go, that's good. Let's pick it in. I don't know if there's voting. I know there's like Grammy committees and stuff like that. And I was like 26, 27 at the time. I didn't really pay too much information. I just got the email from my agent in the States going, oh, you've been nominated for a Grammy. And I was like, oh, what does that mean that we're going through like preliminaries? He's like, no, you're going to the Grammys and you're up for like best electronic remix of the year. I was like, what?
Do you remember when they called you as like a...
Yeah, I was just like, this is insane. and I didn't believe it. I thought it was a joke at first. And this is early day electronic music. Now it's like the norm to have dance music in any category event. But yeah, that was like the early days. And Deep Dish had won it the year before, I think. And I was just like, wow, imagine if we win. That'd be so cool. But
that was still a fucking win.
It doesn't matter, man. Like at the end of the day, it was the experience. I was there. I had fun. I found a free bar and just enjoyed it.
A free bar is always a...
It's funny, at the Grammys, there's no alcohol anywhere. You can't find it anywhere. And then someone in one of the skyboxes, I walked past and I just kind of blagged myself into this kind of thing. And I was just like standing there just drinking. It was great.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
So you started Saved more because nobody would sign your music.
Yeah. No one was signing the music, man. And it was...
Was it frustrating?
It wasn't frustrating. It was just part of the process, man.
Yeah.
It was just like, you know what? There wasn't as many labels back then as well. You have to remember.
I feel like every artist has a label now.
Beatport hadn't even started then.
Wow.
So it was vinyl only. It was vinyl and a couple of online sites. I think people had, but it wasn't on anyone's radar at the time. I was very much like, it's vinyl only and, we're playing vinyl. And I pretty much stuck to vinyl until the last possible moment before I jumped to CDs. And then obviously USBs now and laptops and stuff. But yeah, it was a time where I was making music and doing a lot of remixes for people, but no one would sign the original material. So I was doing like remixes for Yoshi Toshi of Chia Pet Westworld, which people still play now. I was doing, I think Dancing in the Dark remix I did a remix for Underworld, a remix for Kylie Minogue, but there was no outlet for me to put original stuff on. Yeah, and that was the basis of Saved.
And when it comes to like branding a label and building it, how difficult is it?
Well, I think...
Because now I feel like, everyone has a label.
Yeah, I think...
So many labels.
One thing I didn't do is I didn't change the artwork. So it's the...
Yeah, it's still this...
Haven't changed. But I had the whole inspiration from Underground Resistance. They just had UR on the front of their... Every release has UR. And I was like, I'm never changing it. And that was one of the iconic things that kids were growing up going, I want to be on Saved. I love the artwork, the disc. It was a thing for them, But it's time. The best time the label run was when I had my brother and Milo, who's now my manager. 3 of us together locked my studio. The office was a bit like your setup. This would be my studio, and then the office was next door. And it was like a whole ecosystem of like my brother would have a demo and we'd come and play and we'd listen to it and we'd be like, no, go back and tell him to change that. It was real A&Ring. Like, we would work with the artists, and it was such a fun time. And you get out of a label what you put into it. You know, that's my theory. You know, if you work a record and you don't, it might not connect in the first week, but you have to keep working the record consistently, week after week after week with your team, and just making sure that you can put every box's ticks to get the record to where it needs to be. And like things, music's subjective. Some things work, some things don't.
Yeah.
You know, some things connect, and it's like I said earlier, the least ones connect.
Yeah, it's so fucking crazy.
You know, you
cannot force something great, you know?
No, I did like one of my, probably the best record I ever wrote called Hold On this year, and I had Marquis Bassi on it, and I spent a year and a half in the studio making this record, did about 30 versions of it, and I was like, this is the best record I've ever written. Didn't connect. And it kind of knocks you, but then you just got to get up and get on with the next thing, man. Do you know what I mean? You're like, fuck. And then you work on a record that you spent 6 or 7 hours, and it connects way more than what you've just spent your whole year doing.
Yeah.
And you can't overthink it, man. You can't, otherwise you'll just be like sitting there just hating yourself. Because
those flow states come in moments where you just never see it coming.
I mean, I just don't think there's any rhyme or reason to what goes on nowadays. I think it's just, you just got to consistently make music and consistently play your sets. You know, you have the same thing with music. You'd be like, oh, I played really shit tonight. And then you'll get amazing messages going, that was amazing. You know, I had a great night tonight. And then sometimes you think you played great, and then you'll get the other messages going, you were shit.
Yeah.
So yeah. So now I just go there with an open mind and just play and just hope everyone enjoys it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you spend much time planning anymore before like a show, like tonight's Space?
I mean, I don't plan what I play when I'm in front of people, but I plan an outline of the music I want to play. Like it's saved anniversary tonight. I've got a few.
Oh, it's the anniversary party for Space.
It's 20th anniversary.
Fuck.
Saved, yeah. So it's crazy. I will have a lot of the old catalog that I've had over the years, and I've re-edited it and stuff like that. But there's no, I look at the crowd. I'm a DJ at the end of the day, and I have to look at the crowd and want them to move. You know, like I'm not going to just go and put my head down and play 3 hours of music that I think I should play. You know, that's the art of DJing. And I think Laurent Garnier says it best. He did an interview as well about it, and he's just basically like, I look at the vibe, I feel the vibe, and I go in that direction. You know, they're on a good level. You've just got to elevate that level for them.
Right.
Yeah.
What about times when you can't, when maybe you're not connecting with the...
They're the hard shows, man. You know, when you're not connecting. But sometimes you have to think that people have a different way of respecting you playing music. Some countries, they just dance. They don't put their hands in the air. They don't like, cheer or the breakdown. Some countries, they don't even look at the DJ. They're looking at each other, or they're just there for the moment. So you can't overthink it sometimes. You just got to play. If it's amazing and people are like, cheering and like going for it and their hands are in the air, it's an extra bonus. But yeah, at the same time, you've got to look at different, cultures, people that dance, that go to nightclubs have different experiences. That you might bring your friend with you to a club that's not really into electronic music, and that'd be the one person you're looking at from the DJ booth going, why isn't he dancing? He's enjoying himself, but he's just obviously not used to being in nightclubs. Because
that's always been something that just fascinates me when I'm in the crowd.
Yeah.
And I'm watching, the DJ put on a great performance, and I'm just so connected.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering, what the fuck is this guy thinking right now? Like, is he just maybe he's not thinking, or like when you're just orchestrating this fucking energy.
It's funny.
It's fun because that to me has got to be the best feeling. That's like the one thing that like honestly itches at the back of my brain sometimes, where I'm just like, would I get into learning how to produce and mix music because I love it?
Yeah.
And I feel like the number one thing that has me have those thoughts is to be able to experience what it's like to be there, just orchestrating the vibe and the dancing.
It's
and all
so
that.
funny. Like, I think my wife asked me, what are you thinking sometimes? I'm like, fuck, have I paid that bill that I was meant to pay, or have I paid that parking ticket? Like some of the thoughts that come in my phone is fucking crazy. Like, I'm like, I got dinner with my mum on Tuesday, or was it Wednesday? I don't know. Sometimes my mind wanders. Like, I'm still looking at the crowd, but I'm also like, sometimes you have like, you have 4 or 5 minutes between each track, and you can't like consistently think about like what you're looking at. You do have these strange thoughts that come into your head sometimes.
That's crazy.
I know.
Did I pay for that parking ticket?
Yeah. Yeah.
That one's nuts.
Yeah. Well, it's like being on the golf course. You don't think about the swing the whole time, do you? Your mind's thinking about a million other things. And sometimes you're like, it's funny.
Yeah. And talking about cultures, what do you think is there one culture or country that just hits different? South America.
I'm going to say this, Argentina.
Argentina.
It's fucking insane.
Argentina's insane.
Have you been to Argentina?
No.
I remember just my first show in Argentina, and it was just like the energy with those people is just insane. South America in general is really, really good. You know, Peru, Chile, Brazil, all these places. But there's something about Argentina, man. Like, even now, I'm like thinking how good it is. I
Really?
can't wait to get down there again. You know, it's like, it's just great people. It's got that real Latin vibe. I have a great connection with the people down there, and it's one of them places that, you know, it's funny. Like some shows you have to work to get the crowd moving, and some shows I call like an easy show, and Argentina's an easy show. Because they are so good and responsive and patient, which is the most important thing. Because you can go down, you can go up, you can go down, you can go up, you can go up, but they will stay with you for the whole journey, and that's what I love.
That's sick.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Have you heard of the Argentinian shuffle?
Yeah, the one where they bounce to the side. First time I saw it, I was like, "What is going on?" It's like dancing. It's like playing to like 10,000 crabs. You know, because they're like, you know, they're going left and right, and it's like, you're like, what is going on? And it's like, it's such a thing, man. It's like, I remember my tour manager had been going there longer than me at the time, and he was like, check the dancing out. And I was like, wow, that is pretty epic. And all the girls wear these platform shoes that are about this big as well. Yeah. So they look really tall from where you're playing.
Yeah, there's a lot of Argentinian shuffling at Space.
Yeah.
I'm sure you're going to see it tonight.
Yeah, I'm
just
sure.
the left, right.
But when you see the whole place do it, it's nuts, yeah.
In Buenos Aires?
Buenos Aires, Mendoza, Cordoba, Mar del Plata. Like, I don't think I've ever had a bad show there.
Festivals and clubs?
Yeah, festivals and clubs. You know, I remember.
I've seen some videos of huge festivals in Argentina. I don't know which one it's called, but
there's probably Creamfields, but the one I used to do.
Creamfields does one in Argentina?
Yeah, that was one of the main ones that I went down to in the early days.
I thought that was just a UK festival.
I remember the first time I played there, Hernan Cataneo, who was the god of Argentina, of DJs. I mean, he would sell out like 40,000 capacity shows and stuff like that. He was like, Nick, I want you to close my arena after me. And I was like, what? I remember standing outside the arena, throwing up. Paul Wolford was next to me, and I was just so nervous about playing. And I remember it was online social media back then, like message boards. It wasn't like, you know, Resident Advisor, I think it was at the time. And I finished my set. I felt I did a good job. And I went back the next day and I looked at my link to my set, and it was terrible. I was like, fuck. I rang Hernan up and I said, I'm really, really sorry, man. Like, I thought I played a good set. He was like, no, terrible. It means fuck it. It's a slang for us to say it was amazing. And I was like, thank God. Do you know what I mean? I was like, I felt so bad for him. You know what I mean? And then ever since that show, I've had a great time down there.
I want to go to Argentina now.
Yeah, man. We'll just go. Next time we go together.
That'll be sick.
Mate, good food as well.
Yeah.
Good steak.
Great steaks.
Great steaks, man.
I had an Argentinian steak last night. That's all I've been cooking.
I saw, man. Looked good. I didn't get the invite.
That's too good. Yeah, I want to go there. And you said you've also been to Venezuela.
Yeah. The motherland.
The motherland, yeah.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I've been there twice now, actually. Great time, great people, great experience. I think the last show I did was maybe 2021. Yeah.
That's awesome.
I want to spend more time there. I'd like to see the country as well.
Yeah, it's a beautiful place. I haven't been in so long, but it's so beautiful.
Quite difficult to get to, though.
Yeah. I can't even get into it right now.
Oh, right.
Because I only have a U.S. passport.
Okay. I think I had to go to like Panama and then Panama there.
Yeah, you have to fly there from Mexico or the Dominican.
Yeah.
And go there.
Yeah. But no, I definitely want to go back.
What have been some of the craziest experiences you've had touring for 20 years? Everybody's got always some interesting stories.
I think it was the one where the UN invited me to play in Bosnia. Bosnia after the Yugoslavian war. And I remember it's fucking crazy.
Were you putting on a show for soldiers?
Yeah, basically. What happened was my friend was in the army and he was a DJ as well, a guy called Chris. I remember this really clearly. And he was like, and this was the early day of touring, and it was like, I would take any show abroad at the time. You know, I was like 21 years old. I'd be like, I'd do anything, you know, because I love playing music. And he was like, we're trying to, the younger generation of, because it was obviously, the war was between Bosnia, Serbia, Croatia, and it was obviously a little bit religious as well. So you had the Serbs, the Muslims, the Croats. And the reason why he wanted me to go there was to kind of build the youth culture to all come out together and enjoy each other's company. You know, it was more the fathers that had the issue with the areas and stuff. And I was like, yeah, this is cool, man. Let's do it. Didn't give me any information at all. Just said, we're going to do 3 shows around Bosnia. So I was like, where are we flying from? Heathrow? He's like, no, we're flying from RAF Bryce Norton. I was like, okay. It's obviously a fucking army base. Yeah. I get there. I get like a full briefing of like, you cannot leave the vehicle. There's mines. You cannot do. And I was like,
there's mines.
There's mines because the country had just been like just out of war. So there was minefields everywhere.
You're like, I'm trying to bring the kids together, not step on a mine.
And I was like, okay, where's the plane? It was like one of them, you know, army planes. I can't even, you know, everyone I got on with had combat outfits on.
What were you wearing?
I was just wearing like this kind of thing with a jacket on, yeah. And everyone's facing that way. So as an opposite way to a plane, you would sit in a commercial plane. Everyone's facing that way. Everyone's sitting there in silence. There's no lights in the plane because of missile strikes and stuff like that. And I'm just like, what is going on? So
what the fuck?
Yeah, so 10 minutes before we land, it's pitch black, the plane. You can't see anything. You can't even see the person next to you. It lands. A Black Hawk picks me up, takes me to, I think it was called the Steelworks Yard, which was a US base. Metalworks. It was in Banja Luka. I stayed in the sergeant's mess with all the army. The UN were there. They gave me credentials with a chip in it, basically saying, I'm like, my phone wasn't working because obviously I didn't have a roaming service for Bosnia. Like, I was like, what is going on? You know, like, and then we did the shows and they were incredible, man. I played in like a bunker, an old war bunker. I played in an old school. I played in an old church. And it was the most amazing experience I've ever done, man.
That's nuts.
You know, and it was basically loads of young kids that have just obviously been through hell with this war for so many years. And it was just, yeah. And I still to this day think that is one of the maddest experiences. I think because I didn't do my research on the thing. I wish I did a bit more before I went.
You're just like, fuck it, I'm taking the gig.
I'm coming.
Sounds more like a Call of Duty Black Ops mission than
it was just mad. Like in the morning, just waking up and like Black Hawks landing down and tanks and fucking military operations going on. And
was anybody else with you?
Yeah, someone from the UN. And then
but you didn't. No manager.
Chris as well, and then another DJ called Tomislav, who was the resident of Club Class that I originally went to, and it was just a mad experience. And everyone had to be undercover because they didn't like US and the British being there, obviously. So they had all the military that came out. We had to have like undercover cars. We had to it was like I said to you, we weren't allowed to get out of the car and take a piss because of the mines. And you'd drive past these houses and they'd have red circles on from where the bullet holes had gone in and stuff like that. It was.
Man, if there's one time I wish you had the meta glasses or like a vlogging camera.
It was like a Call of Duty, it was that kind
Call of Duty mission.
yeah. But music fixed it. You know, it was crazy.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, it was a great story and something I'll remember forever.
You remember the crowd and the vibe?
I just remember.
You're probably so fucking like, what the hell's going on?
It was just like, just a nice story and a nice way that the music was the British Army thought and the American Army thought that this is how we're going to bring the younger generation back together again. That's what I remember. And I just remember it just like, just being nuts. Remember just like, I'm like going back on the final night and getting drunk with like really high ranking military people, yeah, it was just.
That's a movie.
Yeah, it was a movie. I wish I filmed it. I haven't got one picture from it.
Well, that's probably what made it so special, to be honest.
Yeah.
Only you can remember this story exactly for what it was.
I think that's the first time I've told the story, actually.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
On a podcast, at least.
Mm. Yeah, I haven't. No, I don't even think. Yeah, I Yeah, I can't remember. And then there was another time actually where Mixamag wanted to do something in Russia, and they were like, we want to go to the middle of Russia and do a show. And this was like 2008. And it was on January the 6th, which I think is when they celebrate Christmas in the Orthodox calendar or something like that. And it was a town called Ijesk. And on one side of the lake, they make anti-aircraft missiles. And on the other side is where the Kalashnikov was made. So you can imagine what this town was like. It was very old school, communist kind of town. KGB were with us, following us around everywhere, asking what we're doing every 5 seconds. It was just, that experience was insane as well, man.
That's wild.
Yeah. So yeah, I've had a couple of fun trips.
That is so nuts. From Tokyo to Russia.
Yeah.
To bringing the kids back together during the war in Bosnia.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Yeah. All the way to.
Is it as exhilarating as a full summer season in Ibiza?
I mean, it's definitely
bit different.
Bit different, and it's, you know, I think it's those experiences that I'm glad that I did at a young age, where I was carefree and I didn't care and I didn't like, you know, now it's like, you know, you worry about like going to like certain places of the world that are a bit sketchy.
Yeah.
You know, because you see too much information on the news, but then when you get there, it's totally fine, which is always the crazy part for me, man. I always go to places and.
Yeah, it's so fucked now with that.
You know, you everyone's like, oh, you can't go there, you can't do this. And then you go there and you're like, it was actually pretty cool and pretty normal.
Yeah.
But yeah, summer in Ibiza obviously is totally different to Bosnia and Russia. Yeah. Yeah.
And have you been going to Ibiza just as long as you've been coming to Miami?
Yeah, about the same time. I remember
Space closing?
Space closing too. Yeah, that was an epic night, man. So I had a residency in Ibiza on Sundays at Space for a long time. And then I kind of had a love-hate relationship with the promoter. I was like, he was kind of like messing me around a bit and, you know, like kind of borderline, like I was never like, I'd never had an ego, like I wanted this, or I kind of thought like 3 years in, like he would like change the set times around 5 minutes before I got on and stuff like, you know what I mean? It was getting a pain in the arse. So I remember I had 9 shows booked in for the season. And then I think it was March time, I just turned around and I said, you know what? I don't want to do it anymore. So I had no gigs in Ibiza that summer. I was like, fuck. And that's where I got the call from Carl Cox. And he basically goes, I heard what happened. Would you like to come and play for me? And I was like, yeah, I'd love to. And bear in mind, you know, Carl was like one of my biggest heroes at the you know, growing up with music, and, you know, he's godfather to my kid as well now.
Oh, wow.
He just, yeah, he made me love Ibiza again. He made me like bring me back. And that's where the whole back-to-back thing started. You know, we'd do the closings of Carl Cox and Friends, and we'd go on the terrace from 6 a.m. till 2 o'clock in the afternoon and just play and have the best time ever. And then fast forward to 2016, you know, you have the Space closing, and it was so surreal, man, because originally we were meant to do 6 a.m. till 10 a.m. and then Carl was meant to close the club on his own. And we're grooving. We are absolutely grooving, and we're loving it. And all our friends are there, and every DJ from the industry is walking in, having a shot, just wanting to see the last time, you know, this like magical space. I call it like the Studio 54 of our generation. You know, it was that magical. And it got to 10 o'clock. I started to lean over to pack my stuff up, and he grabbed my shoulder and he's like, no, we're going to close this club together. And I was like, what? He was like, yeah, this is amazing. Let's just close this together. So I had like, you know, I would have like this emotion halfway through my set. It was always big enough that it's Carl and me closing Space, you know, to be asked to do that was amazing out of anyone he could have played with. And then to get asked to carry on playing with him, you know, right to the last record, you know, and I still think about it now. And there's so many, still to this day, man, I walk into places and people are like, I was at the Space closing. I was at the Space closing. It's a nice memory. It's probably the best memory I've had in dance music. Yeah.
I've seen videos of the closing night, because obviously,
yeah.
I mean, I was picking my boogers in middle school and stuff. But like now that I look at some of the videos, I'll go through the comment sections and people will write out like on Instagram. Like
I met my wife, I met my husband at Space.
Yeah, it's like a paragraph talking about their night, and then they reply to their own comment and continue to describe how insane of a closing party that was.
I can't really explain what it's like, because I was a kid on the dance floor looking up at Carl, you know, watching him play week in, week out, going, oh man, this guy, you know. The thing about Carl, he makes every person in that room feel part of the night. You know, you guys were there this summer and saw the closing that me and Carl played at Universe.
That was sick.
He makes you feel part of the night, everyone on the dance floor. And that's the most important thing that I think that comes from Carl, his energy and his humbleness. And it's one of the things I've always instilled in what I do and what I always tell younger generations to look at. You know, just be grateful and be thankful of what the position you're in. Because really only 1% really make it into this industry. You know, 1 or 2% that start from the amount of DJs that are playing around the world. And I look back at it, and every time I see that iconic picture of me and him in the booth, I'm just like, I get goosebumps thinking of it.
Well, I can't imagine.
Yeah, man.
That's sick.
Yeah, it was sick.
What was the last record you guys played?
My mum and dad were there.
No,
yeah, it was honestly.
Your mum and dad were there?
Mum and dad were there till 1 o'clock in the afternoon. My dad and Carl are crying at the end of the night, hugging each other. You know, everyone's got like a tear in their eye. It was just mad. It was a mad thing, and it was actually one of the first dates that I brought my wife to now, and I was like, oh, we're doing Space, do you want to come with me? And
that was one of the first dates you guys went on.
We'd been seeing each other, but it was the first time I really brought her to Ibiza as a couple together. And can you imagine, like, you didn't explain what a bigger deal it was at the time, and it was like I had so many of my good friends around me. Like, you know, everything was just, it was perfect, is the way I can describe it.
That's so sick.
Yeah.
That's unbelievable.
Yeah.
And how was it playing together at Universal?
Yeah, that was mad. It was great.
That closing was insane.
Yeah, it was just, it works. And I don't know why it works. I think because we're good friends, and it just the energy that we have between each other, and it was nice, especially after 9 years since the Space closing, that we did the same again at Universe. And I remember just getting to like 6:30. I don't want it to end. Honestly, I was actually like sad that it ended, because if it was Space, we'd have another 5 or 6 hours together. But because now obviously they're quite cutthroat with the closing times in Ibiza and stuff like that.
What an insane club that is.
I know. I mean, he's built a monster.
I try to even understand like the amount of logistics that goes into managing a club of that size. I went to Printworks a few times when I was studying in London.
That was one of my favorite venues in the world, wasn't it? Like, it's just,
really?
It was just such a good place. But
it reminds me a bit of it.
But going back to like Universe and what Jan and the team have done, from building Ushuaia to building High and building Universe, you know, the consistency of how good it is, regardless of the sound, the lighting, the production, the hospitality. I can tell you one thing: the way they treat people, the work with them, and their staff is just incredible. You know, and I've said that since day one. I've never walked in there and not felt welcome. It's like they've tried to create a real big family vibe. Obviously, there's 8,000 people on the floor as well, you know, and stuff like that. And it looks like a lot. Have you been on the floor? I haven't been on the floor, but it looks like a lot of hustling to get to the front.
Didn't get to the floor.
yeah. But yeah, I think, you know, what he's built is something that, you know, is set the bar for moving forward. Look, some people like small clubs, some people like medium clubs, some people, you know, you're always going to get haters that go, oh, you know, people have got their phones out and stuff like that. Whatever. I don't care about that anymore. You know, if you pay to go into a nightclub, I think you should do what the fuck you want within the realms of, you know, legal. You know what I mean? It's like, but you get a lot of haters going, oh, there's all these phones up. And I understand that and I get it. But at the same time, you know, you either have a policy of no phones or you let people just do what they want.
Yeah.
You know, they paid a ticket price, so they want them. That's how this generation can remember where they've been and look back in 10 or 15 years' time. Yeah. And go, that was a great night.
I took one video the 3 times I was there.
That's perfect. That shows you're having a really, really good time.
I think I almost lost my phone the night that you closed with Carl.
I remember seeing you and I was like, I really wanted to meet you. And I was just like, and I saw you on the steps and I was like that. And you were kind of like quite dazed. And then I messaged you a few days later and you were like, I'm really glad I didn't meet you that night. I was like, okay.
It's funny to your point before though, because I saw so much of that as someone who's chronically online. We spoke about it earlier. You know, I wasn't in Ibiza until September. So I'm seeing all these opinions of people about the new club and how it's so big and 8,000 people and, you know, the video of Fisher coming down and the people recording. And it's, you know, this impression that people were giving that it's more of just, you know, this like almost like a circus in a way and stuff. But then And I love a small intimate club more than anything, to be
Well, who
honest.
doesn't know?
Yeah, of course.
Everyone
of course.
loves it.
Yeah,
Like, everyone,
everyone
like,
loves it.
if you had the choice, of course,
Yeah.
you love small intimate clubs. But again, no one's forcing you to go to that club.
Right.
So don't go if it's not your vibe or your jam. Go to the clubs that you want to go to and just let everyone do their own thing.
Yeah, and I mean, I have an open mind with anywhere I go to listen to music. You know what I mean? And man, after I went, the first night I was there, I went with Seth, and it was fucking insane. Yeah. It was crazy. I've never seen something of that, like from the production level and the sound.
El Row, was it?
Yeah, El Row. Just like
the chickens running around.
Yeah,
and
the just everything was crazy. And then went again to see the closing with you and Carl. And honestly, that day, the reason that, I was kind of just like, oh, I'm glad we didn't get to chat that day was, so I ended up flying out a fan of mine from Wales to come spend 24 hours with me in Ibiza. And it happened to be on that day of the closing party. And man, we were shooting a vlog at O Beach, just getting absolutely pissed drunk and hanging out with fans. So we were at O Beach from 4 p.m. till 9 p.m. Then I get back to my place at 9 p.m. Quick shower, still on it. We go straight to Universe.
Oh, okay.
And I was wearing this. It's funny because we made this joke. I was wearing this blue button-down short sleeve shirt and these white pants. And I think I ended up calling it I called it my war fit, like my war outfit. It was so. War's a horrible.
I love the way you're naming your clothes.
No, because literally, like the next day, I was like, wow, that was some of the best 24 hours we've had here.
Yeah.
Plus, like the show you guys put on was so unreal. Like usually after you're partying for that long, you know what I mean? You kind of lose the presence. You don't hear the music as you would if you just showed up to the party. But it was such a great night.
Yeah,
and
it was fun.
It was sick.
Hats off to you taking a place for a month.
Yeah. I think I went into my pool afterwards in like my pants and stuff.
How many nights did you go out when you were there? Every night?
No, not every night. 80% of nights.
That's good going, man. That's good.
Yeah.
Good
Well, the
ratio.
thing is that a few of my friends came and stayed with me, and it was their first time in Ibiza. So what do you do when it's your first time in Ibiza and you're only there for a week? I'm there for a month.
Yeah.
So I was out with every night. They were like, I want to go see this. I want to go see that. I was like, all right. And then I had like midway through the month, kind of took the foot off the gas. But then as soon as the final week of September came around, I was like, it was hell broke loose.
Yeah, yeah.
And it was so much fun.
Yeah, I saw it. I was watching you, like, all your stories daily. It was like, this guy's having a good time.
It was insane. And then I went for Paradise closing as well, which was unbelievable.
Oh, Jamie's, that was a great night this summer that I played at.
Yeah.
Really good night. Good
a
energy,
lot
good
of fun.
People. Yeah.
And now, the year's not stopping for you.
No, man. It's fun. I always thought, like when I had that lull, like I said, in 2007, I thought, I just take day by day, month by month with what I'm doing and I'm generally enjoying it now, man. Like picking and choosing where I play and stuff like that. And I thought it would slow down in my 40s, but it's obviously gone the opposite way. I'm busier now than what I was 10 years ago, which I can't figure. Maybe it's, I don't know. I don't even want to overthink it. Do you know what I mean? I'm just happy that people want to see me play and people want to book me. And it's great. And it's good because I've worked with a lot of these promoters. I've actually worked since day one. So it's quite nice to still work together and see them and still have that friendship. But, like over the 20 years, I'd say the majority of my friendship group is outside of the UK.
Really?
Yeah, because you build a big friendship group, especially in Ibiza. The States, I've got good friends in Miami, Chicago, New York, Toronto, LA, and people that, that I call good friends that I can call up and go out for dinners with them and stuff like that. So, but yeah, it's not stopping. It's like, but I'm in a position where I'm kind of lucky where I can kind of, work it around family life and stuff like that. So,
yeah,
take time off when I need to and step up.
And have you been spending a bit more time in the studio?
I haven't. It's.
The few releases you've had in the last year and a half.
I did.
Fucking...
I know. But a lot of these were written at the start of the year. I like to go in the studio January to March when it's really shitty weather in the UK.
Okay.
Fresh start. Lock myself in the studio, and then tweak those records throughout the summer. Release them from that period as well. So it's kind of. I get off the back of the summer. I'm super tired. I'm doing more longer journeys, like coming to the States, South America, Asia, and stuff like that. And then January is where I kind of want to focus on the music again. And like you say, get the inspiration, take a few weeks off, get in the studio, write 10 or 15 ideas, and then tune them up until release.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I always wonder too. It's like, you know, that flame, like that little fire sometimes, it's just that furnace. Would you talk about it like the beginning of when you start something like a new journey? Like I remember like that fucking spark. I mean, of course you still have it. I'm only 2 fucking years in, but those first days, it's like that little flame in you is just so like,
it's,
and you can't, sometimes it's way more potent. Sometimes it slows down a little bit. And
again, it's consistency, isn't it? It's like looking at it and going, the reality is you can't have highs the whole time. So I do enjoy, you know, getting good reviews, all that stuff. But at the same time, I also look at it going, I can't take this too much to heart, because there's also the lows. So it kind of balances it out. So I just, you know, I go through it and go, I'm really happy that people like it. Now I've got to get to the next record and see what I get with that. Do you know what I mean? Because like I said to you, I had, you know, the record that I spent 1.5 years on, which I thought was going to be a, you know,
one of your best records.
Best record I've ever written. It just faded away. And then now I'm like, I can't take that to heart anymore. I've got to just go through the motions of going, oh, that did well. That's cool. I'm happy that people liked it, and then move on to the next thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, you still got the spark. You know, you never lose the spark.
Yeah, the spark is always there.
Spark's there, but it just needs to be reignited every now and then.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or turned up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So with 20 years of Saved, what's the story behind you know, the edit that Marco just did for Lalo's Groove?
Oh yeah. So
was there an official big release for the?
Yeah, it came out. So what happened?
No, I know Marco's did, but the original.
No, the original didn't. I didn't want to put the original out because I was like, obviously we're good friends, and I gave him this record going, I think you'll love this record. I gave it to him in like March, start of the season. He's like, Nick, I like this record, but I need to do something to it. Typical Marco fashion. You know, he's such a perfectionist. And he picked the record up, re-edited it, made the bottom end sound better. And I was playing it all summer, and I basically thought this would never happen. He hasn't released a record in like 15 years.
Yeah.
He's never going to do it. So I got Milo to speak to Domenico, his manager. And within 10 minutes, they came back and went, yeah, let's put it out. It's like, what? I was like, fuck it, we're doing it.
Sick.
Yeah,
we're doing
it. And it's great. And it's great. You know, I love the guy. And he was one of the big influences me musically as well. And I still love playing for Music On and stuff like that. So it was nice to have him on Saved, you know. Just it was
especially after so many years he hasn't put anything out.
It was good. It was a good moment for the label, and it did really well, really well. It came out about 3 weeks ago, and
yeah, you know, end of October, no?
Yeah, and it's nice, and that's the great thing about the label. You can't really plan what you put out all the time. You've just got to go month by month, week by week. You know, you could come across a great record, you could sign it, and then put it out. You know, like 3 months time, but the whole scheduling of records now has kind of gone through the window for me. You know, like I always leave it open to special records like this as well, you know, that come across your table, you know, and it's like, I'm working on a record with Jamie. It's not finished yet, but once that's done, one with East End Dubs, you know, and it's like, I love collaborating with people. That's one of my favorite things as well, you know, coming together and working on music. And it's funny, a lot of these records, you're never in the studio at the same time. I'll be doing it from London, they'll be doing it from wherever they are, and it's done through the internet, where originally when you do collabs back in the day, you'll be in the studio together,
right, writing
music. So, but there's just not enough time, and everyone's in different places at, you know, different times. So, but yeah, it's fun. We've got a bunch of great releases coming up in the next few months. You know, I've got Hot Since '82 on there, Jamie. I've got a couple more records. I've got Frankie Rossado's doing a remix of Set Me Free, which I'm buzzing about. It sounds great. I'll play that at Space tonight. And yeah.
That's sick.
Let's see where we go. See if we can at least get another 10 years out of it. Yeah. And my goal for next year is to go back to finding a lot of new up-and-coming DJs as well. I really want to put some more sort of, give like newer, originally what the label was for, you know, like, you know, putting our music out and putting new talent through. And I feel like that's the part I've got to fine-tune again.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
It must be really fulfilling to go out there and, you know, because that's why you started the label, right? Finding producers out there who are just making
there's so much good music out there.
It's like what you said earlier, that you would go to some shows and you hear certain people you said are better than you, which is
100%.
pretty crazy.
Like,
And then you're like, haven't had their
No,
break.
it's resident DJs are the fucking best DJs out there. People that play in the same club week in, week out, because they know that room inside out. They know what works at certain times. And I walk away sometimes going, wow, that guy blew me out the water. You know, he played to the crowd. He knew exactly what to do. Because it's hard walking into a new space or arena or wherever you're playing, you know, for the first time, and actually giving it, you know, especially when you get like an hour and a half set, to get things moving and get things going. And then the resident DJ is absolutely killing it.
Just fucking dropping the hammer.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's so awesome. Well, congrats on everything so far. That's awesome.
Thanks,
and
man.
tonight,
I
it's a big
appreciate it,
anniversary. I definitely want to touch a little bit upon what you showed me earlier today
Oh,
at the
yeah,
golf
yeah. I
course.
appreciate that, man.
Do you feel like, is it too many things going on at once? I mean, no, actually, it's been, so give us a little bit of background on Soberish, for those who may not know.
So,
the box right behind Nick.
Yeah. So basically, about 3.5 years ago, I was like, you know, I wanted something. I felt like there was something missing for me personally in the booth, like drinking wise. And I wanted to create a drink that would give me that kind of placebo effect of alcohol, but it wasn't alcoholic, but also gave me like loads of goodness, you know, like minerals and like electrolytes and, you know, just, yeah, a bunch of stuff that's in there that's really healthy for you, basically.
Let me see the box. Yeah, I'll open one up just
Yeah.
Oh, don't worry about it.
I'm gonna break the office up, but you know, like the stuff that we've got in it is like maca, yerba mate, ginkgo, Himalayan sea salt, panax ginseng, rhodola, and magnesium, and L-theanine. And basically, yeah, 3.5 years ago, I came up with this idea. Worked with some great people that have been in the industry for years, and I felt like, yeah, it's a passion project, and it's finally here. You know, it's you tried it today, you liked it.
And I'm 1,000. I told Nick, I'm like, I get a lot of my friends who are like starting a product. I will be fully fucking honest.
Yeah.
And I mean, the first thing that caught my eye was the bottle. I was like, holy shit.
Yeah.
It's an upscale bottle, glass bottle.
It's quite like, not emotional, but seeing you holding it, like, you know, for me, like from everything from doing like the renderings to the design of the label. And, you know, there was like 16 different bottles that I went through before I could get the design right. And it's been such an interesting project to work on away from music because, you know, again, it's subjective. The taste subjective. You know, it's who you're going to please, what's your market, what's your audience, and stuff like that. And you know, so far it's been so good. But
this shit was amazing.
3.5 years, man.
Yeah, congrats. So those of you guys watching this, it's now been a week since you have.
Yeah.
This is going to be in 2 weeks.
Yeah. So it's
it's going to start in the UK.
28th of November. Yeah, it starts in the UK. Direct from the website and Amazon and stuff like that. And
on Amazon as well.
I feel like a fucking salesman now, man.
Dude, no, I mean, but let me tell you something. 3.5. I was actually blown away by how good this shit was.
Yeah.
Especially because you had it chilled.
Yeah,
which was
I had
the
it ready
best,
for you on the golf course. I think I hit one of my shots straight after I drank it was a
as soon as you had your first sip, you hit the best driver of the day.
Yeah. But no, it's
No, I was really impressed, and I mean, it does have the nootropic elements in it. And at first, I was like, about 10 minutes after I drank it, I was buzzing. I got the energy kick from it, which was sick.
I was testing it all summer in the booth and drinking it, and it was nice. It was something that for me that was missing, that I wanted. You know, the whole Red Bull thing was like with what was in it and stuff like that. So we basically just created something that was like that gives you that buzz, but also, you know, feeds goodness into you as well at the same time. You know,
a lot of people talk about buzz. I actually felt the buzz. Yeah. You got to give one of these to Seth.
Yeah, you said
because Seth has fucking yerba mate on every one of his writers. Every time we go, he's just drinking yerba mate.
Yeah,
he would love this shit.
And Alex, who we worked with, the nutritionist that I work with, we you know, it's mad when you produce something like this. The amount of tasting sessions you have to go to laboratories and like now thinking about the whole process, it was a mad time, especially like. Not that I've got imposter syndrome, but the fact that I've been, you know, I don't come from that background. You know, I've spent a lot of time in bars and restaurants and nightclubs and stuff like that. So I had a good enough opinion of what I wanted to create and get to. And yeah, it's finally here. And yeah.
You got my full support on it, I'll tell you that.
No, I love
fucking
that,
awesome.
Brother. It was really nice, really nice. And it's nice to hear. It's just I'm just excited that it's out there now for people to try.
3.5 years now. It's coming to fruition. Holy shit! Must be a crazy feeling.
Yeah, it's mad as well. Thinking how long it's taken to get there. You know, it's most of these companies when they're designing stuff, they get it out like in 6 months to a year. But I work with like as well, like working with the designers and working with like some of the most creative and amazing people in there that have come together for that project. You know, David, my CEO, who worked with Innocent Smoothies, he was like, we've got like some great people and great talent, and Ian, who's doing all our creative, he's just killing it, absolutely killing it, and I'm excited, man.
It's fucking sick,
and it's nice because it goes hand in hand with music. I can have it at my shows now.
Yeah.
So,
and if you want, you can sneak a little tequila.
It works with the tequila. It works with the tequila, you know.
And it definitely works for golf.
Yeah.
That is amazing.
Yeah.
Well, congrats, man. This is sick. Thank you so much for coming on. I mean, it's been a sick day.
I love it.
We're due for a proper full round,
again, man. And we'll take it on the golf course next time.
Yeah.
We should take this on the golf course and see how badly we play.
Yeah. Nick, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you, brother.
For those of you guys who made it this far into the episode, thank you so much for watching. Be on the lookout for Soba Circus. Be on the lookout for Nick. I'm sure if you're in Miami and you're here during Basel, it's going to be some good parties.
Yeah, we're going to see a lot of you in the next few months in Miami,
Thank you, guys. Thank you, Nick.
Thanks, man.
Let's go.
Appreciate you, brother.
Appreciate you, man.
Yeah, thank you.